There are 170 million pieces and counting of space junk in orbit right now. So how do you solve that problem? Well, a start is by finding those who are trashy in space. It's not a huge find, but it's a huge development and step in the space industry. The FCC has recently enforced its first space debris penalty. It is a $150,000 settlement with Dish, and I came across this news on X thanks to an article by space reporter Michael Sheetz of CNBC. Of all the interviews I've done over the years with astronomers and scientists, space debris has been an increasing concern and is only going to get worse as we launch more satellites into orbit. And get this is the first time the FCC has actually enforced a penalty for this type of littering. Now, Dish admitted it was liable for failing to properly dispose of the Echostar 7 broadcast communications satellite. They agreed to pay a fee of $150,000. The FCC is calling this a breakthrough settlement. And again, this is an increasingly concerning realm of space debris. It's brought on by governments and companies launching satellites into orbit at an unprecedented rate. And we know that SpaceX is a part of that with the Starlink constellation. And here's a statement from the FCC Enforcement Bureau chief. Quote, as satellite operations become more prevalent and the space economy accelerates, we must be certain that operators comply with their commitments. Dish launched the Echostar 7 satellite back in 2002.
And liftoff of the maiden flight of the Lockheed Martin Atlas 3B rocket with the Echostar 7 spacecraft on board for Echostar Communications of Wilson, Colorado.
They plan to remove it from service in May of 2022, but a few months before then, Dish found the satellite did not have enough fuel remaining to navigate to a disposal location. The company had previously agreed to an orbital mitigation plan with the FCC. This was to relocate the satellite. Now, instead of retiring the satellite 300 kilometers away from where it was operating in geostationary orbit, Dish retired the satellite about 122 kilometers away. This was well short of the disposal orbit. I reached out to prominent astronomer Jonathan McDowell for comment on this penalty. He gave me this statement saying, quote, yes, I think it's long past time that real penalties were applied for littering in space. There's no reason Echostar couldn't have watched its gas gauge and retired its satellite a little earlier. I also reached out to Dr. Phil Metzger, the planetary scientist who you've seen a lot on my channel. He told me, quote, the fine is trivially small compared to the revenue of telecommunications satellites, so it seems inadequate to make a difference in curbing orbital debris. However, some have pointed out that satellite insurers may raise rates on satellites that do not meet regulatory requirements, so admitting fault and getting hit by even a tiny fine may end up being a really big deal. It might really help the orbital debris problem. We will have to wait and see what happens. And check out this graph. Here's the data on Echostar 7's orbit raising based on the US Space Force tracking. Now, a lot of people are upset at the monetary fine not being big enough. However, it's a step in Echostar admitting liability. That means they're now on the hook for millions if and when their satellite collides with another US satellite. This is a start and establishes the principle, according to Jonathan McDowell. The Federation of American Scientists released an article about a recent NASA study that examined methods for cleaning up all of this space junk. The 2021 National Orbital Debris Research and Development Plan outlines 3 broad methods for reducing the risks associated with debris. Number 1, mitigate the creation of new debris. Number 2, improve the tracking of debris. And 3, remediate debris that has already been generated. Back in March, NASA released the most comprehensive financial analysis on space debris. For the first time, this report illuminates the financial costs and benefits of various paths forward to combat one of the fastest growing dangers in Earth's orbit. Now, space debris is challenging. A collision with an object the size of even a nickel can cause catastrophic damage. And of course, one of the other reasons we want to mitigate this space debris is to prevent a Kessler syndrome. Our low Earth orbit is getting crowded, and we do not want to have a situation where there's a domino effect and we are stuck from getting away from Earth. Not all of these millions of pieces of debris are trackable. Of the 55,000 pieces of debris that we can track, over 27,000 of those objects, like spent rocket boosters, active satellites, and dead satellites, are monitored by the Department of Defense's Global Space Surveillance Network. Remember, these objects are moving in low Earth orbit around 17,000 miles per hour, and even small objects can have a huge impact, causing significant damage and producing more fragments of trackable and detectable size. It's not uncommon now for astronauts at the ISS to perform maneuvers to dodge collisions. This NASA analysis provides the cost of tech and the time to recover those costs, giving the industries a better idea of how to implement new technologies effectively. And this is the first time we've seen a comprehensive cost-benefit analysis of debris cleanup methods, despite all of the data we have of the objects in space being available. And as you can see from this map, tackling this challenge has become a global effort. And let's take a look at some of the top 5 companies that are taking on this task of cleaning up all the trash in space. First, we'll talk about Orbit Guardians. This is a low-cost active debris removal system. The US-based startup is a commercial provider of active debris removal services. They combine computer vision, artificial intelligence, and the Internet of Things for a low-cost active debris removal. They use these technologies to acquire debris parameters and eliminate potentially dangerous targets. ClearSpace is another space debris removal company. Now, they are more of a small satellite solution. They find, capture, and remove man-made space debris repeatedly. The startup plans to remove the first pieces of debris from space by 2025, so that's definitely something we can look forward to. Share My Space is more of a space debris monitoring system. The French startup offers a collision warning service based on astronomy observations and deep learning algorithms. The startup creates multiple solutions to tackle the challenge. Astroscale is an on-orbit servicing program. It's a Japanese startup that removes orbital debris through the provision of end-of-life and active debris removal services. In addition to providing technical solutions, Astroscale defines the business case for its services, and it works with national space agencies, international institutions, nonprofits, insurance companies, and satellite operators. Right now, they're working with JAXA, or the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, for the removal of a Japanese rocket body. And finally, let's talk about Abruta. This is a tethered net removal technology. Also based in the US, this startup meets the growing concerns around the safety of removal and future mitigation of space debris. They use an active tethered net removal technology and end-of-life deployable deorbiting systems. Right now, they're developing what's called the Puck. Now, this is a device to end the single-use paradigm of spacecraft. By enabling refueling amongst other features, the Puck allows all satellites to extend their lifespans while aiding in their eventual removal. So I wanted to give you some background and context for why this is such a big step in the growing threat of space debris in low Earth orbit. And we're seeing that even though it's not a hefty fine, it's still a fine nonetheless, and it sends a message. So hopefully this is a good step for our future and something that we will be able to get a handle on. I really hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you learned something or want to share this video, please do so either on X or YouTube, as it really helps the Ellie in Space brand grow. And sorry that I've been a little bit MIA. I went to Portland to visit my family, and those trips are meaningful as well. So thank you for your patience in the new content, and I'm back here in Austin, excited for hopefully a Cybertruck delivery event coming soon, and many other exciting events, including the AIAA Ascend Space Conference that I'll be going to later this month, and my zero-G flight. So there's a lot coming up, and I just really appreciate all of you who are on the journey with me.